All right, guys. Welcome to your JK show. It's been a while, but I'm glad to be back. Alongside me on this JK show, we do have the K in JK. Kenny is here.
I am here.
All right, guys. Before we start this show, before we start the NCAA edition of the JK show, I have a big announcement that I want all of you guys to hear. So, the big move that we're making in this league. This move is centered around the push to bring in new recruits. So tell your friends. We are offering cash prizes to certain winners in the league. Okay. Now, if you don't feel comfortable accepting our money when you win something, that's fine. Just let us know. Maybe we'll give you some player points instead. But this is our offer right now. If you win the SBF championship as a GM, $100 out of
Whew.
my pocket, mine in Lion's pocket, $100 for winning the SBF championship. If your created player wins MVP in NCAA or the SBF, either one of them, $50. If you win an NCAA MVP, SBF MVP, and the SBF championship in a year, $200 in your pocket, straight out of mine. No catch. We don't accept donations. We don't have a Patreon. This is just straight out of our pocket. I feel like there should be some kind of award for winning, and everybody could use a little extra cash. So tell your friends. This is still going to be finely tuned, but that is solid for at least this season. I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. The only thing we might do is expand it, possibly add it to different awards as well. Non negotiable. I mean, we're not going higher than 100. We're not going lower than 100. We're not going to go higher than 50 or lower than 50, at least for this season. Hopefully, you guys take it with what it is. I That's all we have for the big announcement. Let's go ahead and get into the show because I am dying to do a deep dive into these NCAA players.
All right, and first
So,
we got Michigan
before
State up.
before we do this, I want to point this out real quick so everybody knows if the season ended today, the people who'd be winning money, we have Stingray's GM would win $50 because Jamarius Randall's MVP for the SBF. Bobcats GM Josh Allen would win $50 for winning MVP of the NCAA. And then right now the Ballers have the best team in the league. Let's say they won the championship. $100 into Divine Savior's pocket. That's where we currently are. All right, now let's do a deep dive, starting with MSU. We're going to look at Victor Lynn. Their leading scorer, but man, has he struggled as of late. This guy was a top draft pick option, but wow, has he turned it around lately. He has just been pretty bad. Not shooting very well. As you see, his numbers still look good, but if this decline continues for Victor Lynn, his draft stock could fall hard. My assumption with Victor Lynn, I'm starting to wonder, is he the type of player that performs well simulated but doesn't look good live?
Yeah, that is always a concern, and when you have somebody who's shooting at such a high volume with almost 24 shots a game and shooting with good consistency, you might be looking at and saying, well, what are you guys talking about? That's phenomenal. Almost 42% shooting off a three, almost 47% shooting as a small forward when you're shooting that many shots and that many threes. That is good, but if you saw how good he was doing earlier, you could see how big of a decline he's currently on. If he ends the season with these kind of stats, then you wouldn't be too concerned. But he's kind of in a free fall right now.
All right, next up, we're going to go to Bobby Johnson. Bobby Johnson putting up some good numbers. Well, Victor Lynn is falling. Bobby Johnson is climbing. Nothing special. These are his stats, though. Shooting okay, not great from three. Like I said, nothing special out of Bobby. Just been a good contributor this season. Next up, oh, please also, guys, remember before we get a bunch of comments about your guys' overalls in the top right, please remember that confidence, heat, there are a lot of factors that might change that by one. So
Yeah,
if it's off by one, please don't bombard us with messages letting us know.
yeah. There's
Uh,
gonna be a bunch
we
of
can't
different
control
players who
2K.
have overalls that are up or down one by various factors, but that isn't their set overall. It's just they're displayed.
Next up, we have Preston Hunter. One stat that I want to bring up from this guy: 14.2 rebounds.
Yeah,
He's a point guard.
and a six
He's
2 point guard at that. It is all hustle.
6.6 assists. He's damn near averaging a triple double. And then last but not least, we'll go down to Kenneth Michael. Not scoring very well or rebounding very well, but the 2.2 blocks, you like to see that.
Yeah, his whole game is setting up in the post, getting a couple of buckets, and defending the post in the other end. That
Yeah,
is entirely his game.
if you're looking for a center who's going to come in and not steal baskets from your superstars, Michael's a good one to have.
Yeah,
All right, next team.
opponent field goal percentage being the lowest as the starters as a center is kind of ridiculous. Then we got
The
Josh
Florida
Allen.
Gators, led by Josh Allen, current MVP favorite. As you see, that damn near triple double, 27, 8, and 9, shooting 46%. This guy is everything for his team. No numbers like jumping out at me. Just a good, solid player all around.
Yeah, just really high and efficient numbers everywhere.
Points allowed per game, almost 12. That's just Josh Allen's just such a good player. If Florida commits and Josh Allen enters the SBF, he's going to be a superstar right off the bat. Next up, we got Austin King. Austin King really struggling to find his rhythm here at Florida. He's already announced he will be returning again for next season. A 6'11 small forward. This guy is tall. He can do a little bit of everything. As you see, he's a two-way, three-level scorer. But he's definitely got to find his place. He hasn't found it yet here in this Florida offense, as he is surrounded by talent. Next up is Steve Carter. As you see, Steve Carter is probably the best center in the league. 19 points per game, just dominating Michaels in that department. Then
Yep.
you see the 16 boards, 1.9 blocks, 1.2 steals, and the 54% field goal percentage. Steve Carter is just a monster center.
Yeah, and this dude is a guy who's got a mid-range game. He's got post moves. He's got a very versatile offensive game on top of what he can do on defense, being in the top 5 most of the year in the defensive player of the year race.
Yep. Last but not least for Florida, Chalk Thunder, 3-point sniping, scoring machine. He just fits this team so well. I love seeing the 17, 5, and 6, just stat sheet stuffing for Chalk.
Oh yeah, and one of the most beautiful jump shots you'll ever see too.
Next up, we got those Bulldogs. All right, so these guys playing small ball, but they're playing it well. As you see, Sean Self, 27 points. He's leading the way in scoring. Not doing much else with rebounds and assists. But remember, the thing about Sean Self is he plays to whatever role his team needs him to play. If you need a facilitator, Sean could be the best dang facilitator in the league, but they need him to score. So that's what he's doing. Next up, you got Kashan Williams, 6'4" point guard. This guy is putting up more consistent, like a wider variety of numbers. As you see, the 6 assists, 6 rebounds. Kashan Williams, a late addition to the season, has really helped. He's struggling to find that shot right now, only at 39%. But when that starts to fall, this guy's numbers are going to skyrocket. Next up, Hershey Allen, the 6'6" shooting guard. I love seeing that 13.4 rebounds per game out of a shooting guard. Honestly, I watched this guy play. I know he's only 6'6". I know that's not that tall, but there are a lot of times where I'm thinking to myself, he should be a power forward. He's just long. And as you can see, those 13.4 rebounds per game, that's impressive. And I think the most vital stat that we have to look at here, look at those blocks per game.
Yeah.
2.1 from a guard?
Yeah, Hershey Allen on the defensive end is just as scary as he is on the offensive end. One of the more underrated players in the league, doesn't get talked about enough.
Then next we got Trey Wright. Two-way sharpshooter, 6'8" small forward. This guy, I'm not saying he's not shooting well. I think he is shooting well. I just think he's kind of taken a back seat in what these Bulldogs want to do. He's kind of just being hidden, quietly putting up a 14-5-5 season. He could be one of those players that coming out of the draft, if he declares, could instantly be successful on a team if they decide to utilize him more.
Yeah, and he's playing a little bit out of position right now, playing at the power forward. They like to move these guys around, and what he's been doing is absolutely keeping the floor stretched. And I've noticed that Sean Self and Hershey Allen have been able to work a lot better inside since Trey Wright joined the team.
All
And
right, and last but not least is the other self.
oops, here we go. Oops, oops, oops. There we go.
Last but not least, Damiana Self playing center. So remember, he's playing out of position. He's not scoring. Not that he can't score. He is a good scorer, but they don't need him to. 11.8 rebounds, battling against the bigger player, battling against the bigger, stronger centers of the league. And I love seeing that 7.3 assists out of a power forward center. That's just impressive. Damiano Self is somebody that's definitely going to be looked at as an early draft pick and potential steal.
Oh yeah, the absolute positional versatility mixed with the facilitating, rebounding hustle, and we know he can score. He's just not being asked to. He's going to be an interesting prospect.
He's playing center at college. He lists himself at power forward, but I could easily see him playing small forward in the pros.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next team,
Yeah,
Ohio
Bobcats.
Bobcats. Vern Beard. I mean, there's not a whole lot to go over with Vern Beard. He does everything. As you see, the 28, 9, 6, 2, and then 1.5. Vern Beard does everything, but that's because he is everything. As Calvin Reed is the next person. He's just a catch and shoot guy. Very good catch and shoot though. Don't sleep on him because a lot of teams need a catch and shoot guy. Can you scroll over?
Yeah, and
Oh,
he's one of those catch and shoot guys who is just phenomenal.
and what I want to point out are both of these guards rebound per game. 9.3 for Vern, 9.7 for Calvin. Now, the argument to be made against these two is that they don't have a good big man. They don't have a user created big man. Well, here they come. Kai Flynn had announced that they are returning from suspension, coming back into the Bobcat lineup. Kai Flynn is a 7-foot center, tenacious rebounder. So we'll see if that hurts Vernon Calvin or if that helps Vernon Calvin.
Personally, I think it can only help them, but it is going to be interesting to watch these Bobcats.
All right, next team. The Wolverines. What can I say about Bean Shep that won't sound bias? He is the reason we suck. Does that sound bias?
No, not at all.
Bean Shep, if I'm this, I'll talk about Bean Shep from the assassin's point of view and not the player point of view. Remember, I am the assassin's GM. I am Jeffrey John. I'll talk about Bean Shep from the assassin's point of view and not from my point of view as Jeffrey John. Bean Shep is a sniper, 25 points per game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He's putting up consistently good numbers across the board. 38% field goal percentage is just not good from a top scorer in the league, but the argument could be made that he's the only scorer on the team. So maybe the double teams are coming. Maybe people are not hedging off of him like they would other teams. So Bean Shep could easily, you've seen it happen before where Josh Waters struggles and then comes into the league and just looks phenomenal. The same thing could be said about Bean Shep.
Oh, very
Next up,
much.
Jay Blinko, 23 points, 14 rebounds, and almost 10 assists. This guy is fighting for that triple double average on the season, and he is also soaring in the MVP race, and his draft stock is rising fast. Jay Blanco is slowly becoming one of my favorite players to watch. He is a facilitating paint beast. Just gotta love it. There's not much more I could say. Just look at these stats. That's all I have
The
to say.
stats speak for themselves.
Next up, Jeffrey John, the facilitating playmaker, 3-point shooter. So this is my guy. It might sound a little biased here. Currently leading in Defensive Player of the Year. Got to keep that in mind. Not shooting at a good percentage. Michigan Wolverines are struggling to find offense outside of Beanship, and they're forcing Jeffrey John to do it. So Jeffrey John is struggling. So if you're looking for a point guard that can score in the SPF, he might not be the best answer. What he is, though, is a facilitating defender. Reminds me a lot of Steve Kabirov, who is taking the league by storm right now.
Yeah, and
Oh.
if you take a look at his percentages real quick, this shows you all you need to know. He's not a guy who's supposed to be scoring as a defending facilitator, but he does have a 3-point shot. He just needs to work on the rest of his game offensively.
Yeah, and again, Michigan is kind of clogged right now. Jay Blinko doesn't score. Puggleson doesn't score. It's tough to find these good open shots when everybody knows who's going to be shooting the ball. Last but not least, we have the struggling Scott Puggleson, big man for Michigan. Not doing anything too impressive, just battles it out. Shoots at a high percentage. You'd love to see that from a big man.
Yeah,
He was leading scoring for Michigan for a while. That shows you how much Michigan's been struggling to score. But ever since like the first couple weeks, he's really fallen off in the scoring department. So now he's just a big rebounding defender.
yeah, just a huge body.
All right, next up we got the Bulldogs. Ray Cortez, quietly one of the best NCAA players in the league. I'm going to stick to that story. 24, 7, and 3. All offense, not very good at defense. Next up, you got Ricky Cross. What can I say about Ricky that hasn't already been said? This guy is unique, to say the least. Kind of reminds me of a smaller, weaker Deion Hill. If you took Deion Hill, took away his 3-point ability, and made him a little bit better in the post, that's Ricky Cross. Or if you took Ricky and gave him a 3-point shooting ability, that's Deion Hill. That's how I look at these guys. Ricky Cross, almost 8 assists, 14 rebounds. Like, this guy's almost averaging a triple-double, 20 points. He's just a phenomenal center.
Yeah,
Next,
nothing you can critique.
yeah. Next, Jack Morgan. Or is Sean Butler a user-created player?
Nope, I meant Denver with Jack Morgan.
Yeah, Jack Morgan, power forward. He has that little Dirk fade, 14 and 13. The thing I like about Jack Morgan is I don't feel like he takes too many bad shots. He's quiet, so you could easily put him in your lineup, have him come in, get some rebounds for your team, and not shoot your team out of the building.
Oh, yeah.
Last but not least is the assist master himself, Ollie Moon. This guy can shoot the 3, but what he likes to do the most is flashy pass assists. So
Oh, yeah.
if you're looking for a point guard that does nothing but dime other people, Ollie Moon's your guy.
Yes, he's a very tenacious defender who likes to throw the ball in cool ways. That is the best way to describe him.
Yep.
And
Next,
we got
UCLA.
UCLA.
Trey Wright, leading the league in scoring right now. Trey is an absolute scoring monster. Don't know. I don't understand why Trey Wright is not leading for MVP right now. As you see, he's shooting 50% field goal percentage, almost 40 from 3. Trey Wright has just been everywhere on offense. His defense leaves a little to be desired. But if you're looking for some offense, Trey is your man. Best offensive NCAA player we have by far.
Agreed.
Next, Chet Harley, offensive threat. As we see, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Chet already announced he's going to be remaining in NCAA. He does not want to come out until he's at least a top 5 draft pick, and I think Chet made the right call. I don't think Chet's a top 5 draft pick this year, but he could be next.
Oh yeah, he's definitely in a position to make that leap next year and be a almost lock for top 5 if he gets as improved as he has this season.
Yep. Next up, St. Dismo, 15 points, 12 rebounds from the shooting guard position. This guy is a very interesting style, as you see at the top right. He's a two-way finisher, and his top 3 stats: inside scoring, rebounding, and defense. So, I mean, that's just interesting. Somebody could use that in the SBF.
Yeah,
He's not going to cost his teams by taking too many bad shots. He's only beneficial.
yeah, and he's got that bad 3-point percentage, but he knows when to try to make the shots to try to keep people honest. If that 3-point shot comes along, this dude is an athlete. My God,
And in
he's
my
fun to
opinion,
watch.
your 3-point percentage doesn't matter unless you're averaging at least 2. When you're averaging only 1.13s a game, that 3-point percentage, in my opinion, doesn't matter.
No.
And then last but not least for UCLA, Jack Boulder. I believe. Was
Yep.
there a 4? Is there a 5th? It's just Jack.
I think it's just Jack.
Jack
Yep.
Boulder, the manly man himself. Not score much, but look at those rebounds. Jack Boulder, like some people like to sleep on him, but he might be the second truest center in the league behind Steve Carter. Because Ricky Cross, I don't count him as a true center. He's more of a he's unique. But the thing that just deters you away from Jack Boulder is that he will shoot you out of the building.
Yeah.
Look at that. 26% shooting from a big man. That's not okay. Ever. You're
Oh.
shooting from 1 foot like inside the free throw line consistently, and you're shooting 26%. And then from 3, you step outside and shoot 15%, averaging 3 a game. He will cost your team. So you're getting a tenacious rebounding defender on one hand, but you're also getting somebody who will shoot you out of games on the other hand. Can a coach in the SBF, though, stop him from shooting so much? Maybe.
Maybe. And if you can, you probably have one of the better defenders to come out of college, if not one of the best. But, oh man, does he have the potential to just ruin games for you.
Yep. Any other teams left?
Nope, that is all of them.
All right. Well, there's your SBF. There's your SBF JK show for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember, if you guys have any content you want to see from your teams going into next week, let us know. We'll throw it up on a JK show. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the big news. Remember that big news is at least one season long. I want to see it work. I want to see people start recruiting. We'll keep the cash prize every season as long as it's working. But if it doesn't work, we're gonna have to yank it. But thanks guys for checking out the show, and I will catch you in the next one.